think it's extraordinary. And if you want an example of the deep state, you apparently had the head of the FBI go to the White House with the Deputy Attorney General, make his case to the White House, they're his superiors in the executive branch, and get turned down. He then goes back and apparently puts out a release. I mean, in effect, it's an open rebellion. You have the director of the FBI putting out a release attacking the president for what the president apparently has decided to do because he didn't listen to the head of the FBI. I mean, this is a level of bureaucratic deep state resistance that should be educational for every American. And it should raise two questions. First of all, when you're dealing with the Federal Bureau of Investigation and the Justice Department, it is a threat to the civil liberty of every American if they go rogue. I mean, if they think they're on their own, if they think they're unaccountable. This is what was wrong with J. Edgar Hoover. And let me say, one of the things that President Trump ought to consider is renaming the J. Edgar Hoover building, because Hoover was the personification of spying on Americans, including Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. He was the personification of using secret information for political power. And maybe they ought to rename the building for a civil libertarian, and they ought to send a signal to the FBI that, look, you're under the law. I mean, you're not above the law. You can't go out here, have the President of the United States make a decision, and then you decide you're going to fight him in public. That breaks up the whole concept of an executive branch and is clearly a violation of the Constitution.
Clearly, you're pointing out that the FBI and the White House are at odds over this. Judge Andrew Napolitano, Mr. Speaker, penned an op-ed on FoxNews.com this morning, making the case, as he has been, to make this memo public. We're adults, he says, we should be able to decide. He writes, if it is as advertised, we will see the deep state at its most frightening. What is going on here, Speaker?
Well, let me point out also, there's a very big movie out right now about the Washington Post and the release of the Pentagon Papers, which is actually a slight slap at the New York Times, which is the paper that actually released them. But the Pentagon Papers were thousands and thousands of pages of secrets in the middle of a war, and the news media felt like it had a moral obligation to publish American secrets during a war. Now we turn around. Where's the demand from the Washington Post? Where's the demand from the New York Times? Why aren't they insisting that the American people have the right to know? Because the case here is very simple. Did the Federal Bureau of Investigation use tainted campaign material, apparently paid for by the Clinton campaign, as an excuse to a federal judge to have wiretaps on Americans during a campaign? Now, that is a very chilling concept, that they would lie to the judge, use material that we now know is totally phony, and then use that to be wiretapping on the presidential candidate in a way that I think threatens the entire process. You know, it turns out we started out looking for, did the Russians collude in the American election? And what we're discovering is, well, the FBI and the Justice Department colluded. That the real collusion was in the federal bureaucracy, not in the Kremlin, and that it was apparently illegal. And that's why I think they're trying to cover it up.
So why not just put it out there now? John Kelly did say the president will release it pretty quickly, I think were his exact words. But here we are, Thursday morning. Why not just put it out there for the public to see now?
Well, I think in the next day or two it will come out. It may come out sometime today. Frankly, speaking on behalf of people who think that President Trump did a great job Tuesday night, I suspect having an extra day or two to focus on how brilliant the State of the Union was and the issues he raised in the State of the Union before this smothers it. Because you know, the minute this comes out, the entire elite media will quit covering everything else, and they will be totally fixated on this topic. And it's going to get plenty of coverage. It'll be out today or tomorrow or at the latest Monday. Because it comes out unless the president stops it. And it's pretty clear he's not going to stop it. And I think that he doesn't have to say much about it. It's going to speak for itself. And I think that we're going to find out, based on everything we've heard so far, we're going to find some very sobering things about how illegal the practices were during the 2016 campaign. And I want to repeat, we started out with this question of, did the Russians interfere? And in the course of a year, we've come to the fact that it may well have been the Justice Department and the FBI that was interfering, not the Russians. That's a pretty amazing turn of events.
I think naturally, as Americans, our next question is, and then what? So once we see this memo, and Let's say everything that it sounds like you're predicting is in that memo is made public and we all read it. Paul Ryan has said that the purpose of releasing this is transparency so that we can see accountability. What happens next?
Well, I think there are three things that ought to happen next. First, at a symbolic level, as I said a minute ago, they ought to rename the J. Edgar Hoover building to admit that, in fact, there's a long pattern at the top level of the FBI of doing things that were illegal. Second, I think specific individuals are probably legally liable. And I would hope that the Attorney General would insist that the law be applied impartially. But if people clearly broke the law, then they need to face legal consequences. Third, I think the Congress may want to revisit how the Foreign Investigation Act works and may want to actually modify it in some ways to make sure that there is a clearer method of watching the watchers. I mean, this goes all the way back to the Federalist Papers, where they said, you know, if men were angels, you wouldn't need government. But since men aren't angels, you're going to have people in government who aren't angels. Who then watches the government?
Right.
And I think that's exactly where we're at. So you've got three layers: symbolically, personal accountability, and reforming the system.